If I was gonna start dropshipping all over again, completely from scratch, what exactly would I do differently? I started building my first online store a little over 5 years ago. And at that time, I was just graduating college and accepted a role in supply chain at a 9-to-5 type of company. But since then, I've built multiple 6- and 7-figure dropshipping stores and several other 7-figure online businesses. I can tell you that starting dropshipping in 2024 is nowhere near the same that it was in 2018. There is so much more software, apps, and knowledge out there right now in 2024 compared to back then. It has arguably become more competitive, but it's also a lot easier if you know what you're doing. So welcome back to my channel, guys. My name is Rabin, and if you are new here, welcome. And in this video, I'm going to show everyone, especially my beginners out there, what I would do differently starting off dropshipping to find success as quickly as possible. And especially if I had to learn it all over again from scratch right now. So let's get right into the video. First of all, if you're brand new to Shopify, which you probably are, and if you want to get your Shopify plan for just $1 a month for the first 3 months, so instead of spending over $100 on Shopify fees, you only have to spend $3. I don't know how long they're offering this, so make sure to check it out down below in the description. All right, so the first thing that you have to do when starting your online business is save some money. No surprise here, but starting any online business does actually require money to start it up. Yes, there are tons of videos out there saying starting dropshipping from $0 or under $100. It is possible to do this. It's just a little bit harder and you have a lot less money to play with and test. So there's certain different routes you have to take if you have that low of a budget, which I'll cover in this video and explain the difference between a really low budget and a healthy budget to start. So first off, you have to save up a little bit of money. So don't buy that extra Starbucks. Don't go out on the weekends at the club and spend $100. And definitely don't buy any designer clothes or something like that and just waste your money. Just save up for a few months before you're ready to start. Now, the more money that you save up, the more budget that you have to play with, essentially. I would say a healthy budget to start a dropshipping business in 2024 is between $1,000 and $5,000. Although that can be lowered based on the guidance that you're getting and what principles you've kind of been taught while you're starting off, which hopefully in this video that'll help you. Now, I know what you're thinking. Austin, that's a lot of money. I can barely pay my rent right now. I'm just getting by. But don't worry, because there is a lower budget strategy that you can follow. I just wanted to explain what a healthy budget looks like and what kind of things you could actually get out of that. So what a healthier budget does is give you more capital to test with, so you're able to get more conclusive results from your advertising, which I'm referring to paid testing, and it obviously allows you to go into paid testing earlier on rather than organic, so it kind of speeds up that process of collecting that data. Not to mention that you can outsource things like website design, ad creatives, and other elements like that. And also there's like a psychological reason behind it as well. So you feel more secure if you've got a larger budget, because if you're willing to spend $250 testing out a product and your overall budget is $3,000, you're really not taking up too much of that budget, and you still have a long runway to go before you kind of hit your maximum budget, right? And if you're only starting off with $250, you're gonna be way more skeptical to spend that money on paid advertising. And if you lose it, you don't have any more money to spend. So overall, it wouldn't be as stressful having a higher budget when starting off, especially if you wanna give it a full fair try, which is really why I do recommend setting aside some money to start this business. Now, if you have a smaller budget, let's just say $100, it is still possible to dropship. The very first thing that I would do is find someone on YouTube, like a Jordan Welch, Bia Heza, myself. There's a ton of good content creators out there explaining e-commerce and dropshipping strategies, and start following these accounts and following all the things that they say. And yes, we all kind of preach different things. A lot of the things are the same theme, but we all have different opinions on what works for us and different strategies, because e-commerce and dropshipping is not A plus B equals C. Not every single strategy works for every single person or product, which is why it's great to get a well-rounded view of everyone that's kind of preaching e-commerce, because we all have different strategies. So if you try one from one person, it doesn't work for your product, you can always follow the other person's strategy, and hopefully that helps. So keep that in mind, that you can't just blindly follow any influencer online with their certain strategy that's, you know, secret or whatever. And if something doesn't work, it's not their fault. It's just because there's so many different variables involved. And a lot of people think self-taught, you know, e-commerce professionals or drop shippers doesn't really work, and you have to pay for a mentorship or whatever. And honestly, that's not true. I personally am fully self-taught just by watching YouTube videos, reading case studies, going on Reddit, trying to figure out all these problems and strategies and just applying them and testing over and over again. It is a little bit more challenging to learn this way, just because you can't really bounce ideas off of someone. And oftentimes it is pretty hard to figure out who's legit and who's not, to be honest with you. And it is a little bit slower of a learning process. If you're going through a mentor or something like that, they'll be able to guide you through certain things, what to avoid, what not to avoid. So I do believe in mentorships. Obviously I have Ecom Remastered as a program. It definitely does cut your learning curve in half and helps you find success quicker, but it is not fully necessary. Now with your $100 budget, you're gonna get your Shopify account, hopefully for $1 if you use the code. But Shopify by far is the most beginner friendly type type of platform to start a business. Most things should be free on Shopify in terms of apps and stuff like that. You can always find like a free version or a really cheap version, but maybe adding 1 or 2 specialty type of apps, maybe for upsells or something like that, are probably going to run you around $10 to $20. If you're on this budget, you're also going to want to spend some money purchasing that product yourself that you think is going to be a winner and the one that you want to test. Because with this budget, you really can't go into paid advertising right away, so you have to use organic traffic. And with the rise of TikTok and Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts, it makes it really easy to advertise your products online. And it's easy in the sense that we didn't have that reach back in 2018 like we do on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube Shorts right now. So you can get your product in front of a lot of people for essentially free based on the content that you're making. And the only thing that you need to make that content is, your iPhone and the product itself. Like I said before, this is something that I did not have in 2018 that would be really, really useful. And it's actually really beneficial to do it this way in the beginning, even if you do have a higher budget. Because when you're posting short form organic content, you're actually teaching yourself what makes up a good ad creative. All of these platforms give you direct feedback on how your video is doing and how engaging it is. So the more views that you get on your video, it's literally the algorithm telling you that people like this video and this style of video. That's why we're pushing it further and further, and it's getting more views and likes. You're gonna keep that in the back of your mind now and be like, okay, so I switched this hook, I did this, these are the kind of shots I did, this is the trend I followed. And it really just teaches you how to capture the audience and what they actually want to see on these platforms. And this skill will definitely help you later on down the road when you move into paid traffic. So it's a great thing to do. It's completely free besides having the product, and obviously you need an iPhone or some form of a camera to post. Now, even though all of the steps are pretty easy to actually just start posting organic traffic, it does get a little bit tricky. And the tricky bit is kind of broken into 2 pieces. 1 is being consistent, and 2 is making engaging viral content. And this is what most beginners in the beginning struggle with, because it's hard to kind of be consistent on TikTok, especially when you're not seeing results or you're not getting any views on your videos. And that's when the most people drop off and say, I just can't do it. I don't have the budget to go into paid. I don't want to do organic anymore. It's just taking up my time. I'm getting 100 views on my videos. That's where the difference between someone that is failing and gives up and someone that finds success is literally that consistency. And that goes for e-commerce as a whole. Everyone that gives up after 2 weeks of trying, they're never coming back. They're never going to find success. They're going to try a different business. They're going to try it for 2 weeks as well. And then they're going to give up on that and move on to the next thing. It's a big waste of time. The only reason that I'm successful in e-commerce is not because I'm any smarter than you. I didn't go to Stanford or anything. I had no background in website design or marketing, anything like that. I was in supply chain. The only thing that separates me and some other person that failed is that I kept doing it, even though I was failing for months and months and months. It was just consistency and learning. And that is so, so important when starting any business at all, even if it's not dropshipping. So the second part of organic traffic essentially being tricky is just making that engaging content. Some people are just not good at posting on TikTok. I mean, honestly, I'm not either. Like, I've had to teach myself how to speak in front of a camera. It's really awkward. It's just not something that's super, super natural to everyone. And even if you're not in front of the camera talking, shooting product photography or videography and making TikToks, some people just don't go on TikTok and they just don't know how to post on TikTok and what actually goes viral and what makes videos go viral. So you really have to study it and test a bunch of different things. The easiest thing to do in the beginning, if you're not great at making that kind of content, is following pages that are selling a product that is your product or a similar product and see what kind of videos they posted, what sounds they were using. Try to study what made that video go viral, replicate it in your own form, do your own version of it, switch it up, don't copy it just 1-to-1, and start there and see if you can get any results. And just keep doing that over and over again. Do it for 2 to 4 weeks. I mean, realistically, TikTok takes quite a while to get up and rolling. You're not just going to get 1 million views off the first video. I mean, hopefully you are, but it's just not likely. But the reward of organic traffic is actually really huge. If you can get a viral video, let's say 1 million views, and 10,000 people click on that product on your profile, and some of them purchase from you, you could easily make $10,000 plus off of that one viral video, where essentially you've paid nothing for advertising. That is the beauty of organic traffic, especially being budget friendly. And then once that actually works and this video got viral and you got some sales from it, the thing that you want to do next is then finally move into paid traffic. You want to reinvest that money that you've made. Don't just take it and hope to get another viral video. You really want to reinvest it. And going into paid traffic can be easier if you start off with organic. Yeah, there are strategies here and there for paid advertising, but you've done the hardest part. The hardest part was finding a video or an ad creative that's done well and works and resonates with the audience. So you've done that. You've proven that concept because you got 1 million views on that video. Take that exact video, maybe chop it up a little bit differently if you need to move it onto Instagram Reels or whatever. But you can literally use that same video because it's proven the concept of being engaging, move it onto Instagram Reels for paid, and then start running that traffic. And then hopefully that is just as converting as your organic, but more sustainable. It's more sustainable because you can actually control how much you're spending and how many views that you're getting. Now your margins margins are obviously lower with paid traffic because that is a cost now baked into your system. But I love paid traffic because it's sustainable. I can turn on an ad, I can go to the beach or whatever, and it's still gonna be running throughout the day, and it's gonna get consistent results over time. Now, the next thing that I would focus on if I was a beginner and starting all over from scratch would be taking time to learn and apply. Now, something I really wish that I did when I was starting off was breaking my journey into 2 phases. Now, what I mean by this is not just watching one dropshipping video, maybe even this video, and getting carried away thinking, yeah, I can do it right now, I'm gonna get started today. Dropshipping is a journey. It can take a lot of time to actually get good at it. And so with that, I wish I really split it up into 2 different phases, which would be learning and then applying. A lot of people will watch an hour to 3 hour long video on dropshipping and just assume that they know everything now and they're just gonna jump right into it. And then they make a lot of mistakes along the way, rushing the process as fast as they possibly can, getting up the ads, paying for everything, doing it in like a week, and then running these ads and it fails. And then they just give up. And it's like, that's just not how it works. You really can't just rush the process so much and expect to get results right away. That's just not how any business works in general. You want to focus on consuming as much content as possible. Watch videos on my channel, watch different creators' videos, see what strategies they're using. Read Reddit kind of case studies of what works for people and what doesn't. Keep up to date with the times of the trends going on right now. What results are people getting from certain paid platforms? Maybe try Pinterest. Look into a bunch of different stuff and learn marketing terms as well and what each thing means, like conversion rate optimization, SEO, marketing angles. There are so many different terms in e-commerce that you should learn before you get started. And just take notes and have bookmarks on your laptop of different strategies that people use that you want to try in the future, and then start applying everything that you've learned into building your brand or business. And again, don't rush this process. You don't want to have a dropshipping store up and running in a week. You just don't. It takes time. You want to build it correctly. You don't want to waste any money, especially if you're doing paid advertising. You want to give it a fair shot and a full effort. You don't want to put half effort into it and just expect something to work and then you grab your Lamborghini keys next week. It's just not like that. So overall for this section, what I mean is just learn as much as you possibly can until you get comfortable in the space in general and the terms, and then start applying this into your store. And again, take your time in building out this business. You want to do it correctly. Now, the next thing that I definitely wish I would have learned early on when I started off my dropshipping stores was picking a niche that you're passionate about. And there's kind of 2 parts to that. One is sticking with this niche that you pick. And the second thing is just picking a niche that you like. So for the first part of sticking with a niche specifically and not kind of going back and forth between them, that is really, really important. And that is something that I tell a lot of beginners. Sticking within a niche, you're going to learn a lot about this niche. You're going to learn the people that are involved in this niche, how they like to be advertised to, upcoming products, things that are trending within the niche, the way websites are built in this specific niche, and a lot of other things. It's just doing market research and market knowledge. And if you're bouncing from beauty tools to sports equipment to, ebooks or whatever you're selling online, you're never going to hone in on those skills and never going to learn that market. You're just bouncing around. So sticking with one niche, even if you're switching products, is really, really helpful, especially if you're a beginner. And the second part is picking a niche that you're passionate about. I started by selling fake AirPods online. There's a bunch of videos on my channel about that. Don't do that. But the first full actual drop shipping store that was successful that I was running was in the beauty and cosmetics tools type of niche. I picked this niche because of my fiance and her friends, blah, 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 but it's not a really fascinating niche for me to be in. And I kind of got stuck in it for like 4+ years now. It's really boring. I just don't like doing it. Yes, it makes money and that's great, but you kind of lose that passion after a while because I'm not really involved in the products. I don't really care, which is why, side note, I'm switching niches, building a new brand. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to make some cool videos on that. But picking a niche that you're passionate about is so important because if you're going to be working with these products all the time, you're going to be taking videos of them, trying to reach out to influencers in the space. And if you don't care much about it, it's just going to get really boring and repetitive, and you're not going to like doing it, and people are going to be able to tell that, and you just don't put as much love and passion into it, right? Like if you are a golfer and you love golfing, go into the golf niche. Don't go into the beauty tools niche just because some Joe Schmo, me, has made a lot of money doing it, right? Pick something that you like to work with and it will be fun for you and your friends and family and whoever's involved in the business to do and create content for. It's just so much more fun. Just trust me on that. And every niche has products that sell, so don't worry about that. Now, the next thing that I wish I knew before starting off dropshipping was to not worry about the money. We've all seen those videos on YouTube of day in the life of a dropshipper or a teenage millionaire, blah, 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 right? And I think that's why a lot of people are interested in it in general, is because you can make a lot of money, for one, and two, you can kind of do it from your home, wherever you want in the world. You can travel, you can do it at a young age. You don't need a college degree. So it really attracts people into the niche of like the flashy lifestyle. And I'm telling you, you just can't expect to be a millionaire overnight. Those videos are highlight reels. Videos on YouTube, Instagram, all these influencers, whatever, they're all just highlight reels. They don't show you necessarily the struggles that they had for 1 to 2 years before something worked. It's all just made out to seem easier than it really is. And it is easy in terms of making a lot of money for not as much work or schooling as a traditional route like a lawyer or something like that, but it's not easy, right? It's a lot of work in the beginning. Now, I'm not saying to not strive to have these material goals or whatever, but just understand all good things do take time. And understand that good businesses take time to build as well, especially if they're sustainable, right? You can run up some random viral product for 2 months and you can make $30,000 on it, but that product can just turn over and then you're back to square one trying to find another product to sell. Rather than doing that over and over, I mean, you can do that, but it gets a little bit stressful because I like sustainable income, right? And consistent income. That way you can plan your life and your finances. So building brands in evergreen niches and ones that you can take at least a year or two out are way better than trying to cycle through products every single month. And what I like to do is set your goals kind of lower in the beginning. So that way you're not discouraged that you don't have your Lamborghini in your garage by next week. My first initial goal when I was starting off in dropshipping was just to pay my rent in LA. I was thinking to myself, if I could net just $50 a day, then I could pay my rent in LA and that'd be great to cover. And having that low goal seemed very achievable. So when I started making that in the beginning stages, I was like, I did it. This is my whole goal. Obviously I scaled aggressively. I have a bunch of stories about that on my channel, but it makes me a lot more money, which is awesome. And that can happen very, very easily, but set your goals a little bit lower, just something realistic. I want to make my car payment monthly or my mortgage or whatever you have. And having that low goal and having these goals kind of broken down into smaller pieces makes it seem very, very achievable. And it really helps me at least with motivation. Now, the next thing that I would tell myself early on if I was relearning dropshipping all over again is that you need to keep improving. There are loads of testing frameworks of CBOs, ABOs, and if you don't know these terms, watch some more videos on my channel. The advice that I wish that I got early on is if something is working for you, just stick with it and just hammer it and remain consistent doing so. Now that kind of takes away from the section of saying keep improving, but here's my point in that. You want to hammer what's working right away as fast as possible. Essentially, if it's working, just go all in on it. And as you're going all in on it, maybe it's scaling up an ad creative that's working, you're making more money, right? If it's your first time finding any success at all, don't just scale up that store and let's say you're making $500 a day profit off of it. Don't go take a vacation and just not care about that anymore. Just let it automatically run. That's not what you should be doing, especially in the beginning stages. While that little ad creative or whatever is working, you need to be testing on the side pretty much nonstop because eventually that ad will run out. It'll fatigue. You need to update your ad creatives, blah, 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 right? And then you don't want to have to turn off your ads and be like, dang, I'm back to square one again. You want to have stuff cooking on the side that you're testing. That way it can join together and make money on both of those ad creatives. Or when one dies off, you still have this replacement here and your income is still good. The point here is that you can always learn so much more about e-commerce. It's always changing every single day, every single year, different strategies, different opportunities, methods, products, everything. If you keep improving, you're going to be able to build a sustainable business rather than that one-time success type of thing. And that's what I hope to reach with people on my channel. I'm not a get-rich-quick guy. I am wanting to build sustainable businesses for the future that I can actually rely on this income instead of just quick cash. It just doesn't make sense to me. It's scary. So those are the things that I wish that I learned or someone told me when I was starting off dropshipping. I know they're pretty general and you might not have even started a store yet, but if you've watched this video to this point, just keep these in the back of your mind when you're starting off your journey. I am telling you, it will help you a lot. And if you find success in this business model or another online business model, it applies pretty much to anything. You will look back fondly remembering some stuff in this video. And if you're ready to get started, watch some of my other videos on my channel. I've got some great full guides talking about marketing angles, product research, website design, all of these different things. So make sure to check those out. Thank you guys for watching and I'll see you guys next time.